So we have Mr. Deep Sen with us, CEO and co-founder India Housing for All, to share a presentation on leadership capital to develop green affordable housing. We have talked about all the asset classes. We have talked about diversification. We have talked about portfolio advisory. So now it's the time to hear something about real estate.
I think it's the last session, so I try to keep it to at least 15 minutes and probably less, right? So I can't see many of the faces, but that's okay. I think, strangely enough, just listening to so many presentations, and particularly the one from AAFM, I think what struck me is that how similar is our program in affordable housing to yours, because I think what you've done in India the last 10 years in terms of the certification work for wealth professionals is something similar that we are attempting to do in affordable housing, which is really providing a certain kind of credibility to those development partners in the sector. And really, many people are confused with affordable housing to low-cost housing. And I think, as we all know, Tata Nano had this product. It was the world's cheapest car, and no self-respecting Indian wanted to be seen driving in the middle of a city. So affordable is also aspirational. And I think as I was observing your program early this morning, and I think you had this certification going for some of your colleagues who are wealth professionals or turning to be wealth professionals. And I think I could see their smiling faces in terms of an achievement that they were experiencing, going through some of these experiences with you and the work that they put in. Our program is something similar, because ultimately, I think providing a home is a very social objective for us, and it cannot just be commercial. So we see it as affordable, aspirational, and also something which is sustainable, because many of the home buyers that we influence in this program will probably own a single home for the rest of their life. So our objective is to catalyze 1 million families in India own a home in that dimension over the next 7 to 8 years, which is roughly 1% of our population. And we try to do it in a similar way as I think your organization does, which is really provide some leadership capital. And that's skills, and which is really the software. And the capital, which is the hardware, which is essentially the necessary evil, as I call it, to get this work done. In doing this, we have some good partners who have development experience. And we really partner with many governments, most of whom happen to be outside of India, and including the government of UK, Australia, Switzerland, and Holland. The demand side to affordable housing is actually quite straightforward. Everybody, anytime you read a newspaper or a news journal, you'll always see there's a demand shortage, or rather there's a supply shortage. The number can be anything. The most popular numbers are 44 to 48 million homes. The Prime Minister's Awas Yojana gave a basis for housing for all. And most of the shortage emanates from urbanization, rapid urbanization of our cities, and also, like the way the professional class is growing in India. So combination of both affordability, the affordability factor, which means rising incomes, and the price of homes probably not rising as much because of technology and so many other factors, gives a great affordability coefficient to this particular asset. And the Prime Minister's Awas Yojana actually gave us a great framework in terms of, like the way you do, which is really trying to get some uniformity in the way you look at wealth professionals, certification, so on and so forth. It's very similar, actually. And it's because governments attract governments. And this particular class of asset is really one for the social sector. So that's where we gain a lot of credence for our program. There's always a shortage of homes, and most people actually probably don't know why the supply is always falling short of demand. And the simple reason is there's not enough development capital in our country. Development capital today is largely led by family and friends. Such family and friends' money goes into the early stage of buying land and getting some approvals in our sector. So this is the piece that we target to actually replace with institutional means. And it's very large because for 44 to 48 million homes and growing gap, it's about $15 billion of development capital that is needed. Our program on a proof of concept provides about 100 million US in terms of an AIF category 2. Our goal is to get to $1 billion US. And basically, it's almost like 10% of the available produce that we are really targeting in terms of capital. And aside from partnering in early stage, where friends and family participate with no governance, that's where we kind of come in and put in some team to make the development strong so that the overall certification of homes comes up to the quality a home owner or a home buyer deserves. Ours is a skills mandate. Leadership capital is really about skills. And to get these skills out, who we need are first-generation professionals who are now entrepreneurs, similar to many of us, actually, because they understand the importance of best practice, good counsel, knowledge, because on their own, they are not able to manage all of it. So that's where our role is, to make capital responsible and to ensure that all the lessons that we've learned in this sector are implemented. We actually operate on a private equity model, which is high returns, 20% plus gross IRRs for all our projects, and and participation as well. And at the same time, because of the nature of the projects, we also essentially secure our risks because we typically work on a NCD or a debt format. All our project selections are typically on an unlevered basis, having an equity return of 35 to 40%, mainly because we select projects where sales velocity is quite decent to large, and it churns. The churn is in a very quick period of time. Our development finance sits somewhere between friends and family finance and construction finance. So it's cheaper. It's half the price of friends and family money, but it's more structured. It's more organized. It's almost equal or slightly more expensive than a typical linear construction finance, but it's more patient and more flexible. And overall, it's also actually more profitable to the developer and to those who actually sponsor this program for the features that it has. To bring this program into India, we had to actually, our first set of institutional funders have been governments outside of India. And they have embraced the Prime Minister's Awas Yojana. And we had to make some small tweaks to make sure that the homes and the developments that we have achieve a certain environment-friendly status. And also, in doing so, have some social hurdles associated with that. And the reason for doing it is most home buyers in this sector are first-time home buyers. And secondly, they deserve sustainable, better quality homes compared to in an ordinary home that is being developed and given to them, just for value for money. And also to our funders, we actually can bring a greater class and a greater quality of funders to the sector, which typically the country doesn't provide in terms of institutions or private wealth. Our team has more than 30,000 plus homes delivery experience. We've raised about $5 billion of capital overall amongst our team, and probably more than $100 million of exits in our life journey of infrastructure and real estate. And therefore, our model is actually a gap between what is in development and what financial services sector in India offer. So we are a lead developer to our financial services partner, and at the same time, we are a development finance institution within financial services. So we fill this gap, and as someone, and quite a few actually presented, our model is really about execution. So which means we put people into the project, the skills into the project, and we share some of the scope in the project with our development partner, and we brand them better, and that's how we achieve our investment and implementation success. We partner with some of the leading institutions in India, and one of them being Centrum Financial Services. Most of my colleagues have 15, 20 plus years of sector experience. So that's our background, and I think I'll just thank Vyas at the end of it, and 15 minutes, maybe I would have overshot a little bit, but not too much. Thank you very much.